Blog Talk Radio.
You are listening to Shriekfest Radio.
Hello, and welcome to Shriekfest Radio. This is Denise Gossett, the festival founder and director, and your hostess for the day. Shriekfest Radio has been on the air for 8 years now. This is the 204th show. And February is Women in Horror Month, so tell all your favorite women in horror some compliments, shout them out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of that good stuff. Shriekfest is currently celebrating its 20th year. 20th year. Mark these dates down. Shriekfest LA, October 1st through the 4th. Shriekfest Orlando, November 7th. Our website is shriekfest.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Come give us a like and a follow. We'd appreciate it. Our next cutoff dates for submissions is March 1st. So, yes, it's creeping up right around the corner. So we accept short and feature screenplays, short and feature films in the categories of horror, thriller, sci-fi, fantasy, and also music videos. Our next Shriekfest presents, so every month or so we do a screening with the New Art Theater at midnight of some sort of classic horror. And our next one will be Friday, March 13th. It will be Child's Play 2. So definitely mark your calendar for that. Tickets are on sale. You can find them through our site and the New Art site. And we always have special giveaways and guests and things like that. So pay attention and make sure you attend these because we give away some really cool prizes. You can sign up for our newsletter on our website. The call-in number for today's show, if you want to ask a question of myself or of my guest, is 516-531-9858. 516-531-9858. If you are shy and when you'd rather not be on the air, you can always tweet at Shriekfest or email at shriekfest.com, and I'll periodically glance at those and get those questions answered. Super excited about my guest today. She's a writer, a producer. She She co-produced 2 Shriekfest official selections in the past few years. So we had Tethered in 2017 and Psychopath in 2019. And I would like to welcome Kayla Stuhr to Shriekfest Radio. How are you, Kayla?
I'm doing really well, Denise. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good to hear your voice. Glad to have you on. Cannot wait to catch up. So, first thing. Where did you grow up and how did you get into this crazy industry?
Well, I was born in California, but I never really lived there. So I grew up mostly in Scotland and Norway.
Whoa.
Yeah, so if you hear a slight accent, that's where that comes from.
Oh, my gosh. How cool.
Yeah, it was an experience. For sure. I definitely like the weather here in North Carolina, where I am now, a lot better.
So you like having the seasons and some snow, because you guys get a little bit of snow there, right?
We do sometimes. It seems to vary. I mean, North Carolina is kind of famous for having 4 seasons in a day. We had one day of snow this winter, and then it's already back to summer temperatures today, so it's all over the place. It makes for interesting film backgrounds, certainly.
Sure. Let alone how do you dress each day, right? You don't know what to prepare for. Well, that is cool. So you have quite the background, being in different countries, living in the States. I know you started out as an artist and animator. What made you flip over to writing and producing, especially horror?
Well, I always kind of had a plan to move into filmmaking, at least once I was a teenager and started watching a whole bunch of movies. I knew that was something I was really, really passionate about. But I decided to study animation first, kind of strategically, because I had loved drawing and illustrating and painting so much as a child, and then those were the skills I had developed first, and I thought animation would be a really great stepping stone to move into filmmaking. And I don't really make that much of a distinction between animated films and live-action films. You still have to know all the same principles and theories and treat it the same way. But I think there was something about animation that allowed my rather overactive imagination to express itself a lot more freely just as a solo artist, because until you have a big team to work with, you can't really do everything yourself. And I've always liked the darker side of the art. I like very surreal artwork. I like sci-fi, fantasy. So I needed an outlet for that, and animation kind of allowed for me to be a one-man band for a while and just create films and learn the tools, learn the software, learn the principles and the film theory, but still be able to make my own project.
Yes, Kayla, I'm so happy you said that, because there's so many people out there that think, well, who would I even do this with? I don't have a team. I can't afford a team. Well, sometimes your team is you when you start out. So I'm really glad you said that, and you lived it, so you know. And I'm sure it's extremely difficult, but look where it got you.
Absolutely. I would not be making films now if it hadn't been for just picking a route and kind of sticking to it, even if it didn't seem like it was going to turn out exactly how I wanted it to initially. I mean, I actually only moved to North Carolina because I was struggling to find animation or film or art-related jobs back in Scotland after I graduated. So it was really, at the time, it seemed like a failure. But then I got to North Carolina and ended up, I went to networking events. That's kind of how I approach everything now. And it was at one of those networking meet-up groups for video and audio enthusiasts where I met Four Leagues Media, which is the group I am now a team member of and partner with.
Which that group rocks, by the way. I love all of them. You guys are so amazing. So you found the right group, I got to tell you.
I really did. I think I struck gold. I consider myself very, very lucky. I mean, they're a great bunch of guys. They're hilarious. I definitely feel like the odd one out sometimes because I'm the only girl in the group. There's like 7 or 8 guys. It's very much a dude fest. But we have a lot of fun, and I think I help balance out some of our projects a little bit.
Well, I'm sure. And, I'm sure it is kind of awkward and weird being the only girl, but that is awesome. You got to enjoy that and celebrate that. And celebrate them because, they're a lot of fun, and they're respectful, and they're just kind, and they hustle, and I'm really impressed with that whole team.
Me too. I really credit them for everything that I've learned in the actual practice of filmmaking now. That's one of the things our team has always been good at, and I've heard you talking about it before in some of the other interviews I listened to with your other women in film. That doing it is half the battle. So many people can get stuck just talking about a project or an idea, and you can be perfecting it for hours, months, weeks, years, whatever, and never actually make it. But Four Leagues Media has always been really good about, we'll talk through an idea for months if it needs it, but then Dan, usually the director who you've spoken to before, he will put his foot down at some point and say, okay, we need to set a date and just run with what we have. And I think that's what helped us actually be able to be as prolific as we are. I think we've shot, in total, they've done 9 short films in the past 5 years or so.
Wow.
Which has been fun. We usually try and do 2 or 3 a year.
I love it. That's wonderful. Okay, so I'm an actor as well, and I know this casting director, Bonnie Gillespie. I'm going to give a little shout-out to her. She said something very profound, launch at 80%. And what's so important about that is how often are we working on something and we think, it's not quite there yet. It's not quite soon. Well, soon may never come unless you just launch. Launch at 80%, things will fall into place. It's not going to be 100% perfect. Nothing ever will be in your eyes, but that doesn't mean other people won't see it as perfect.
No, exactly. We have learned that time and time again with the feedback that we've been getting from films. Each one of us, we all have our favorites. We all have very, very, very different tastes in horror films and films in general. We actually have a dedicated chat channel in our phones where we can discuss and debate what we like and don't like. But ultimately, the feedback we've been getting, even from the films that we think are some of our weakest, there's a whole audience out there that absolutely loves it and wants to see more of it. So we've ended up developing more of, we're developing several feature scripts at the moment, even for films that we weren't sure would go that far.
Right, exactly. And I got to tell you, I know there have been some films submitted that did not get into Shriekfest, but even your weaker films, like you were saying, our weakest films, they're still good. They're heads and shoulders above so many out there. So just because a film is rejected by a festival does not mean it's not a good film. So I want you guys to know that, because you guys are on the right path. You know what you're doing. You've got this. So, yeah, I just wanted you to know that, just because I know there have been a few have been rejected from Shriekfest, but not because they're bad films.
Well, we appreciate that, and we understand, of course, that festivals have, and your programming, your curating, you have a theme in mind, and you can't show everything by everybody, especially Shriekfest, because you attract such a huge amount of applicants, and I love the fact that so many people are also returning alumni, which shows that you care about where the films actually go on and what happens to those artists and filmmakers after the fact, and they get to come back, which is what we did, and we were very happy that we got to come back again with Psychopath.
Yes, I love it. Well, let me tell you, this hasn't officially been announced, but this is our 20th year, and so last year I did a networking event at the festival. This year I'm going to do a 20th reunion. So anyone that has ever been in the festival will be invited to come back and just chill, drink, have fun, party with each other.
That would be great. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I think it will be a lot of fun, and I think there will be a lot of deals made and projects started up, because you'll be in with everyone from the first year. It's going to be amazing. So if it turns out anything like what I'm picturing, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, that sounds great. We'll mark it on our calendars as soon as you announce it. It's all official, and I'm sure we'll try and get at least some of us out there. I mean, it was quite unusual for us to get almost the whole group together.
I know.
All this far away.
I know. You guys are amazing. So let's talk a little bit about writing. So what makes you want to write? Like, how did you get started writing? And is it something in you? You know how people say, if I don't write, it's not me, like I have to write. Are you that way?
I think with me, I feel like I'm a perfect split down the middle between kind of visual arts and written form. I used to love writing in school. I would write usually fiction. I love fiction. But I got really into academic writing and film analysis for a long time as well. So I think what I enjoy about writing is the way we work in For Leaves Media. I think just lends itself particularly well to the way I work, because it's so collaborative. Really, we come up with these films together. We develop the plot almost to the point where it's completely written in our minds. So it's fun to then take the work that we've all done together and all the input from all these different approaches to film and storytelling and just I feel like because I have a really good visual sense of what everyone's trying to get at, it's really easy to just take that and put that down on paper and finally get it there. I definitely think dialogue is challenging. A lot of our films have kind of managed to navigate around being too dialogue heavy, so that's still something we're working on. And I know Cooper, we have a kind of dedicated writer now. We brought Cooper Thornton on board. He came out with Psychopath as well, and we tend to kind of dump the writing projects on him now. But I have enjoyed tinkering with the projects that I managed to get my hands on from the group, and I just love it. It's a very organic kind of task to do for me before I sit down and start visualizing, which is where the challenge starts coming in, because I am not a cinematographer, but I can picture things visually perfectly, but it all comes down to what your camera can do after that, and that's where I have to turn to Aaron, our cinematographer, a lot of the time.
Sure. So let's talk a little bit about producing, and what would your advice be to someone who's never produced before and would like to try it out?
Oh, yeah. I would say learn to speak up. I think some of my biggest regrets in producing or how I've dealt with tasks with our projects is I feel very strongly about something, or having it like my instincts are telling me something isn't going to work out very well, or that we really need to put a little more time and thought into it. Definitely speak up. Don't let your fear as a new person, someone who's new to producing, make you doubt your ability level. Of course, there's lots to learn, but I think if you are that type of person that likes to organize and likes to help get things done, kind of run with something.
Sure. So listen to your gut.
Yes.
If something feels off, it probably is off.
Don't be afraid to delegate. We're kind of terrible about that in our group. For Jeff. Jeff is our kind of lead producer, and he takes the brunt of the work by far. I feel bad. I should probably be doing a lot more to help him. But delegate the work. Don't share it, spread it. Utilize the talent in your team, whether it's a team that you're working with already or a team that you're hiring. Use that talent, use that expertise, and share. Don't hoard everything just because you like to be in control. I know that feeling. I like to be in control. It just doesn't happen in a project like this. Filmmaking is collaborative on every level.
Yes, great advice. Let's talk about Psychopath. How long did it take for you guys to shoot that?
We shot Psychopath in 2 days, which is the same for most of our shorts. Because we all have day jobs until we make it big, we try and shoot everything on a weekend. And I think
which is great.
Days.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, we do, and we make it work. It's made us very, very efficient. Everybody knows what they need to do to set up a scene because we don't have a lot of time in between. I definitely think, like most of the group would probably agree with me on this, that our director Dan has a very distorted view of how quickly we can actually do everything. But somehow
Dan, we're talking about you.
Yeah, he might be listening. I might get some flack for that later. But he knows it's how we do.
I love it. So in the film, there is a cabin. I don't want to give too much away, but it's like a cabin. Did you guys have to build this cabin? Did you find it somewhere? Where did you guys shoot?
Well, this was really, really lucky for us. Jeremy, who's normally our kind of art department lead, practical effects, he lives on a property with land that's basically nothing but creepy woods, and that creepy cabin is on his
you're
property.
kidding.
And
That's perfect.
It used to be a wine cellar or something, and it just got left to kind of deteriorate in this perfect horror movie fashion. And we've been shooting in it ever since.
I see a lot of shorts happening in that cabin. It's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, we've definitely, I think it's now been in 3 of our 9 shorts. So
I love it.
It's going to be more famous than we are.
Were there any memorable moments that happened during the shooting of Psychopath that, like, either stood out as funny or as, oh, my gosh, now what are we going to do?
Definitely our makeshift Rainmaker, because it's raining in Psychopath and it was not raining in North Carolina at the time. We had put together this very rudimentary Rainmaker, and it was basically a pipe attached to a hose with a bunch of holes poked in it, and it required 3 people basically standing underneath, getting showered on for all of the shots that are raining to hold it up in position, because it was so far out in the woods and we needed to be connected to that hose all the way back at the house. So it just meant a lot of human manpower to hold that in position for the film. But we think it worked really well. It added a lot of production value for Psychopath.
Sure.
Because it looks like it was raining, at least in our minds.
Right, and it gave her the reason to seek out shelter, which was perfect.
Yes, exactly. We needed it. It was crucial to the story.
All right, so let's talk about Tethered, which I love as well. And what's going on with Tethered? I understand there may be some exciting news.
Yes, so Tethered is finally being developed into a feature which we are due to shoot this spring. Hopefully April, May that's our tentative window right now.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this spring, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. I cannot wait to see what you guys do with it. Now, is it going to be called Tethered?
Yes, so definitely keep your eyes out for Tethered the movie. It's just too iconic. We have to keep that. Yes.
So anyone listening, if you have not seen Tethered or Psychopath, you must track these down. And Kayla, can you tell us where can they see them? Are they still doing festivals or are they online at this point?
Psychopath is still doing festivals. I think Psychopath will be playing next at Nevermore here in North Carolina.
Okay.
And there may be a couple others. We will definitely post upcoming festival events on our Facebook, Twitter, and possibly our website. I don't think we're updating that as frequently as we should be. So yeah,
that's your homework.
Tethered Short is currently done with its festival run because there are some exciting events, some exciting news coming up for the short film too that I can't go into details, but you will be able to see it soon. I'll put it that way.
I'm so excited about this feature. Oh my God. Now this will be you guys' first feature, right?
Yes, this is our first time. It will be an ultra low budget. We're doing it ourselves completely independently. We're shooting at the same location here in Thomasville, North Carolina. We're also going to use the same actor from Tethered the Short, Jared, which that short film was his very first film that he'd ever done, and we are so excited to use him again for the feature.
And he was great.
He was wonderful.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, I'm super, super excited. You guys have to keep me posted, and anything that I can, tweet out there or help spread the word on, please let me know because I would love to help. And
thank you.
Sure, no, I'm excited about it. So where can people find you guys? I know you're on social media. You want to give out all the handles? Sure.
If you're on Facebook, you can like our page, which is 4 Leagues Media, and that's the number 4. Everything is the number 4 Leagues Media. You can reach us on Twitter at 4 Leagues Media. You can also tweet me at Kayla Stuhr if you want to talk directly to me. We're on Instagram now, which we weren't before, so there's not a lot. We're working on our Instagram, and that's at 4 Leagues Media as well.
I know, Instagram's hard, isn't it?
I know.
I don't.
It makes more sense to be on Instagram because we make visual content, but we're all too old.
I know it's very. I don't like it because first you can't do it from your computer. Because, like, if I could do it while I was working on other things, it'd be great. But you got to do it from your phone, and everything's got to be pictures. And I really don't love Instagram. I'm trying to, so I feel like I'm a newbie at that one as well. So we'll just learn together. How about that?
I appreciate the moral support. We need it.
I know, right? It's crazy. Okay, so the feature, Tethered. Anything else you want to promote or talk about? We have a little bit of time left. I want to give this to you if you want it.
Let's see. I guess I can mention the news. We have some news about Nervous Breakdown, which was one of our. We shot Nervous Breakdown just before Psychopath. Nervous Breakdown is coming out in an anthology to be a Blu-ray anthology release by the Meridian Releasing Group. So that's coming out in March, and it's going to contain a whole bunch of other shorts. So we're excited.
Congratulations.
About that. Thank you.
I think anthologies are becoming popular again. They were, and then they weren't, and now I think they're back, which I think is great because I think people love watching short films. And if you don't live near an area where you can get to festivals, it's kind of hard to see them all, especially back to back like that. I mean, you can search out YouTube and all that sort of thing, but I think anthologies are fun, so I'm glad they're getting popular again.
It's such a great way to discover new filmmakers, and I think short films are underappreciated because I think there's a lot more original content and original ideas coming out in short films than there are in feature films right now, because in feature films people want to play it safe and do what the vast majority of the audience is going to go see or pay for, and short films are so experimental. I love it, and I think you can just take a chance and buy an anthology, and you get a whole range of surprises.
Right. Kayla, I couldn't have said it better. You are so right. People take chances. I tell people you can have this complete story in this tiny amount of time, and they're just so fun. And the cool thing about shorts, like let's say you go to a short block at Shriekfest, if one of the shorts isn't necessarily your cup of tea, it's short. It's almost over.
I know.
But they're all amazing quality and wonderful stories and just fun. I really wish that the features could somehow get that passion and momentum because there's so many features out there too, and they're not all quite there yet.
No, I would agree. I think definitely right now I feel like the feature film world is oversaturated with remakes and.
I know. How many more do we need, Lordy?
I know. And I think that's why it's important to really support your local independent filmmakers, and especially your women in film too, because it's such a kind of a hidden gem out there. There are lots of women working on films that just don't get the same screen time or publicity, and support them because we need some variety. It's really everything's starting to get old now. We need some fresh thinkers.
Yes, I agree, Kayla. Thank you so much for coming on Shriekfest Radio. This has been a wonderful treat.
Well, thank you for having me. Hopefully we'll see you soon.
Yes, and tell all the guys I said hello.
I will.
All right, Kayla, I will talk to you soon, and please keep me informed on Tethered, the movie.
We shall. Have a good day.
All right, you
Bye.
have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.
You are listening to Shriekfest Radio.
All right, guys, that was great. We're about out of time. So, like I always say, keep pursuing those goals. Write down those goals. Go after those dreams. A little bit every day will get you there. Baby, baby, baby steps. All right, bye, guys.